Hi, Srishti.
Hi, sir.
Hi. So I guess Amit is not joining today, although he hasn't replied anything. Samitra is not joining, so I think we should get started.
Okay, no
Right?
problem.
Did you see the other videos, the sessions which you
Yes.
missed? So were you able
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
the recordings? Any questions
Yeah,
do
yeah,
you
I did
have?
so. Uh, no, not exactly. So I just want to confirm. So the migration is just basically migrating like on-prem to cloud, right?
Uh, when we say migration, migration could be anything. It could be from Azure to Azure, from one resource group to another resource group, from one subscription to another subscription, from GCP, AWS to Azure, or from on-premises to Azure. In on-premises, it could be a physical machine, it could be a virtual machine on Hyper-V, or it
Mhm.
could be a virtual machine on your vSphere. It could be anything. All of these will be called migration. However, moving machine from one resource group to another resource group, moving machine from one subscription to another subscription, these are very basic things. So when they call it a migration in interview, that they're looking for someone who knows migration, they do not mean this migration. Technically this is also migration. So whenever an interviewer is asking you about migration, he or she is definitely asking about migration from on-prem uh, to cloud. That is implied.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah. And there were like three data boxes you showed. So
Right.
that was basically for billing purposes, right? Pricing thing.
Sorry, billing as in?
Like the pricing prospect of migration.
Sorry, I'm still not getting your question. See, everything billing is there in everything. Everything will
Okay.
have the billing. So what do you mean by those data boxes exactly?
So the it has like the GBs, I think to convert on
Okay,
the portal.
no, it's okay. Yeah, let me open that. I got it. I got your question. I got it. I'm just trying to understand what doubt you have about it. I
Yeah.
got which
So
section you're talking about. What question do you have related to that? That's what I'm trying to understand.
so the particular box has some GBs.
Hmm.
So I thought that only that GBs of data can be migrated on from that selected part.
Okay, let me explain it very quickly. So data
Sure.
box, see, when it comes to migration, it is not only virtual machines will migrate, right?
Hmm.
Data, that is the crucial point part and the most important part. Without the data, what's the use of my virtual machine? I have a web server, I have a payment gateway, everything, but there is no data attached to that. There's no database. Then what's the use of that server, right? So when I say migration, we do migrate servers, but we do migrate database also. See, database also. So when we move databases and core data, so what options do we have? So here it is, data box. This is the one I was talking about. We're talking about import from Azure. See, even export, it is also a migration, but we are talking about import. Let's say in this scenario, I have some data on my on-premises and I'm importing it to Azure. Okay. So I will select the resource group. I will select the subscription and everything. This part clear? That what does it mean when I say
Yes.
source region? That where your data currently is, where is your data center? Okay. And if it is in Denmark and I'm selecting East US, doesn't make any sense. If my physical database it is in Denmark or it's in Brazil or Australia or somewhere, if it is in Australia and here I'm taking US, doesn't make any sense, right? बहुत ही ज़्यादा bandwidth इसमें use होगा. So we'll never do that.
Okay.
Unless we and even if we are using this data data box option, shipping में भी काफी cost लग जाएगा. So what we'll do, if it is in Australia, I will search for some region which is in Australia. In Australia also I see three or four: Australia Central, Central 2, East, Southeast. So now I will know, or the client will know कि इनका data center ऑस्ट्रेलिया में कहाँ पर है. If I talk about अगर relatable example चाहिए, So I'll take India. Now I know in India, currently my data center is based in Pune. So I will select something in India, which is in Pune. Now I know that the Microsoft this has a data center in Pune. My Azure has a data center in Pune. So I'll go ahead with this West India. Okay. If my current data center, if it was in US, I would have selected East US. Okay. And in India, if it was in let's say Bangalore, I would have selected South India. There's one in Chennai, I guess. So that is how you decide. Is it clear? These 2 points?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming back to your questions. Okay. So everything, every activity we do, it is related to task, no doubt in that. So still didn't get your question. What did you mean exactly when you said it is about
Yeah, the
money
data
or
was this the 35 TB.
hmm.
So on the 35 TB data
uh
will it take?
Srishti, can you adjust your mic? Can't hear you properly. It's
Okay.
very low.
Can you hear?
Yes, yes, it's better now.
Yeah. So like on the database preview, data box disk preview, we have 35 TB.
Huh.
So only 35 TB data it will take.
Right.
Yeah, only that concern. So
Okay.
what will we be selecting in this?
So here first, see, sorry, yeah. So we did discuss about assessment, right? I hope you saw those videos. I did
Yeah.
discuss about assessment. So before every migration, you have the assessment part. And if you read it here, I have clearly mentioned that assessment itself takes 3 to 4 months, right? It takes months. So it is a very deep and thorough exercise, you would say. So before you come to this stage, you will know exactly how much of data do you have in your current data center. So if you
Okay.
know that you have only 30 TB data center, then you can go ahead with this one. If you know that there is 70 TB data in my data center, you can go with this. Accordingly, you can select whatever you want. So here, if you select this one, they will send you 5 disks wherever you are. You are in Brazil, you send your address, you share your address, you have to create a task for that. I showed that also how to create a task. Okay. So you'll have to create a task for that. They will send those disks to you. You physically attach those disks to your data center. You can do that. And once that is done, you can copy the data and send it back to Azure. Then what will Azure do? Azure will copy that data to your storage account. Now, which storage account we're talking about? Cloud storage account. But the bandwidth here or the limitation here is if you go with this plan, okay, and this preview, it means this feature is in preview stage as of now. It is not live or it is not fully fledged available. Maybe few regions will have it, few regions won't have it, something like that. इस preview का मतलब ये होता है. Okay. Okay. So coming back to this, they will copy it only in one storage account. In this plan, it supports only one storage account. Now you will have to, if your plan is to have this data in 10 storage accounts, you will have to do that manually. Azure will copy this data. Azure will take this disk, copy the data to one storage account, and they will give you the access and everything. Now you keep doing that. Which data needs to be go in which storage account? Create new storage account, copy it. Is it clear?
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Same with 80 TB. Here, suppose 10 storage account. Same with 800 TB, 10 storage account. Pricing, you can click here and see that how much it charges. By the way, can anyone tell me what are the charges for data import? If I am transferring 35 TB of data from data center, my data center to Azure, what would be the charges? And not, I'm not talking about this charges. Okay, data box charge, this is different. See, I clicked here and it is showing me West Europe, this order processing fee $50, daily disk usage $10, okay, shipping 35. I'm not talking about this charges. ये तो आप लोगों को पे करने ही है. Okay, once you pay this, there's 35 TB of data now on those disks, which will be copied here, which means you are using some bandwidth. So what would be the charges to copy this data, 35 TB data, to your one storage account. Anyone knows?
There won't be there won't be any charge for sending data to Azure, but if you want to take it back, I think there will be charge.
Perfect. Right? So it's always free. Copying data to Azure, it's always free. They are welcoming you. It's a business move, you can say. Right? But if you do not like Azure services or something, and now you want to take your 35 TB data back, there will be charges. What are those charges? We can see in Azure Calculator. Another catch here. My business requirement is to have this 35 TB of data, or not necessary that you'll use all 35. Okay, let's say 30. You took this plan, you use 30 TB data. Now your 30 TB data, it is in one storage account. But your business requirement, the nature of the business and how segregated they are, that is demanding that you should have at least 12 or 13 storage account, and data should be segregated respectively, that this belongs to finance, this belongs to IT, this belongs to legal department, this belongs to IT department, etc. Okay, now you have 30 TB of data in one storage account. You are planning to copy some amount of that data to another storage account. Will there be any charges? Now this is within Azure. Yes, guys. Will
No,
there be any
because we are
charges?
just copying the data.
Sorry, did you say no? Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
No,
No,
no.
no.
I
There
said
will be
no.
there will be charges. Uh,
Why we are
I,
just copying the data?
it's okay. See, even downloading is just copying the data. If I download something, it is copying the data, but I'm using the bandwidth. I'm using Azure's bandwidth. That is the reason Azure will charge you. If there were no charges, then what's the use of giving one storage account here and 10 storage account here? By default, Azure will give you, okay, take 10 storage account by default, 12 storage account. This is the catch they have here. That okay, we are letting you your 30 TB data in on Azure for free, but in one storage account. Now later on, if you want to copy that to some other storage account, there will be charges for copying. Hence, in this package, they are allowing 10 storage accounts, and if you want to segregate more, there will be charges. Is it clear?
Yes.
So today we are going to see the reports and everything, how the assessment report looks like. And tomorrow we'll do the live migration. Today I will show you the major things of migration on portal, because it takes times to synchronize. So and before tomorrow's session, I will complete those tasks, but I'll show it to you them today itself. Before we go there, I hope Shristi you saw the video. Still for your revision and Amit's and Hussein and everyone's revision, I'll quickly show it once, that how do we order the disk. We will not be able to order this 35 TB disk. It's not a part of our subscription because we are using trainer subscription. And even if I go with my pay as you go subscription, I don't think so. This 800, so it's impossible. It's not even available. See, it's only available in US. Okay, it's only available in US. But we'll see the process. It's similar for all of them. And when it comes to your interview, you don't have to say that you have done it. You say we know it, but I have never done it. Most of the time, this was taken care by the US team, which makes very much sense. That why would they ask you to fill on all these details? Now if you want this, you just have to click on select anyone, whichever you want. So we'll try with the smallest one, 1 TB data, let's say I have. And there is one more way to migrate your data. Okay, it's not always your disk. So it is through Azure storage explorer tool also. From here also, if you're copying some data, 1 TB तो काफी हो ही जाता है इससे. Okay, कुछ GB 15-20 GB का data है, so you can use this, and that will also be called migration. Just because it is 5 GB data doesn't mean that you cannot call it migration. Even if it is 1 GB, it will be called migration. So this is also one of the methods. Is it clear, guys? So even if you have to say something, okay, I have done a migration small 15 GB, 20 GB, you don't have to go to this data disk all apart. That was for your knowledge. Okay, you never have to say that you have done that You have done that in your past experience. No need to say that. Okay. Another way of migration is, let's say you are migrating a database. It is an SQL, but again this also applies to very small data, very small, like 50 MB. See, if your database is 50 MB, you don't even have to create something. You just go to your SQL database, right click on that database, click on task, and under this drop down you will see deploy the database to Microsoft Azure SQL, and with this you can simply migrate your data. But this, all these apply to very small data. Okay. When it comes to big data, we have to go with this disk option. So this is how you can order the disk. You'll have to give a name, that import job name, click next. Destination Azure region, which region I'm talking about. I know my data center is in India, hence I'll take Central India. Okay. Storage account. Now you can create storage account, you can add storage account here, but only one, because this package supports only one storage account. Okay. Journal file, this will have the metadata of your data, you can say, the encryption and everything. You will have to upload it here. So let's create one. Let me create one XML file here, so at least you will be able to see the next. I'm creating one on my another screen. Just give me a minute. And then today we have these reports to view. I promised you guys last time that I'll get some reports, though these are dummy reports. No client's data is there. This was one of the freelance project I did that, but still I have removed the complete data. It is just a dummy data now. So you decide the carrier. How do you want your carrier account number? These all details you will get. Okay, you don't have to worry. These are not technical steps. You need to add your address here. See, you added shipping address, email address, done, and then you create it. That's all. You will get the disk, copy your data, send it back. That's it. And your data will be there in your storage account. Is it clear, guys, this part?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's come back to the core focus we'll be doing on the server migration. This is the main questionnaires you will have. This is the main job you will have to complete. Everything will be here. Okay. So now let me show you the assessment. So I hope you remember I told you that there will be assessment and everything, and based on assessment you will be there will be a report shared with you, that which machines to be taken, which size to be taken, just as a recommendation. You are not liable to take them. Okay. So once you do that assessment, this kind of report you will have. But how to do that assessment? First, let me show it to you. Okay. When it comes to migration, there are two tools: assessment tool and migration tool. Okay. First, we'll discuss about assessment tool, then we'll talk about migration tool, and tomorrow we'll check the practical of migration tool and we'll practically migrate one or two machines here. But when it comes to assessment tool, you have to, there are multiple tools available. One is Azure Migrate tool, which is a free tool and which comes with your portal, which comes with your subscription. Okay. The another one is there are many tools, so you can select any one of them. And one of them is yeah, this one. Let me show it to you. Okay. So ignore this one as of now. This is a prepared report. I will explain this report in next 5 minutes. But let me show it to you. If we start from scratch, how will it look? Or let me create a new project for you. That would be better. While creating your migrate project, it will ask you that how do you want to migrate your machines? Public endpoint or private endpoint? What do you understand by public endpoint, guys?
Available for everyone.
Right. One thing is we have already started the practical. Okay, tomorrow I'm not going to show all these steps which I'm showing today. Tomorrow the later part I will show. Okay, so public endpoint, which it means your internet. Uh, Available to everyone. I'm not sure if I'll call that correct, but it is your internet. When I say I have these virtual machines. And this is my on-premises data center. And when I say on-prem, it is not necessary all physical machines are there. Okay, this is my on-prem data center, which could have VM under vSphere or Hyper-V. vSphere is a solution from VMware. Hyper-V is a solution from Microsoft. They help you to host your virtual machines. Or you could have physical machines. Physical servers, which we have seen in first or second session. I hope you remember them, right? Yes, guys. Any in doubt do you have in this one? At least still here? Amit,
No, no.
Christy, Hussein.
No, no.
Okay. So some of these are physical machines, some of these are virtual machine. That is fine. Now here you have your cloud subscription. Okay. You're aiming to move these machines from here to here. My question is, how will you move? So how is in the steps will look, but the core options we have, either it can go via internet. What is the next option? Copying the data on disk, that is only for the database we are talking about.
Create new machines.
Still, if you create, how is it a migration then? I have my data on my old machine, right? My subscription, my everything, my uh, configuration, my website, everything is there in my old machine.
Right.
So if I create new machines, how is it a migration? So we are definitely migrating. One is over the internet. I'm talking about what is the next method which comes to your mind. How can we connect our Azure cloud and my on-premises? We have discussed this already.
Azure Storage Explorer.
No, that is only for the storage. I'm talking about I want to move my machines. Storage is a different thing. I'm talking about the machine. Forget that. Tell me the connectivity way. We discussed the connectivities, right? How can I
We're
connect
talking,
my, sorry?
is it, we're talking about express route,
Yes, either
but
express route or VPN, anything.
that will be data transfer or migration.
Could be anything. I need the
Okay.
connectivity, right? First thing I need connectivity. See this Azure this one. Now if I copy some data here, what am I using for connectivity? It's fine. The tool is Azure Storage Explorer. I am connected to my Azure account from here. I can see my storage accounts here, but how am I connected? What is the connectivity? Any confusion, guys? What's happening? What is the confusion? Tell me. Are you getting the question? No matter it's a Azure machine moment or a data moment or anything. My question is how this data from here it's going to portal. How is it going? What is the connectivity between them?
It will be expressed out. But when we talk about migration, you're saying that how to move the machine. Moving the machine means moving the data itself, right?
Okay, let's take anything. You move the data, you move machine. When I say machine specifically, yes, ultimately everything is data. What is a machine? Ultimately, it is also a data, right? There is a disk, there is an OS disk. OS has metadata of your machine, operating system. Ultimately, everything is data. So irrespective of that, you call it data, you call it virtual machine, anything. One thing is the data box, that is a different thing. You're simply copying it. You don't even have to have any connectivity here, right? If you're using the data box, what are you doing? You are taking literally a physical hard disk here. You are connecting your machine to that hard disk. You're copying the data. You're sending it via post or courier, and then they are copying that data here on your storage account. You don't need any connectivity here. Is that clear? For data box,
Yes.
but I'm not talking about the data box here. Okay, I told you data box will use only on those scenarios जहां पर बहुत ज़्यादा data है, सब कुछ है. In machines we are not moving using data box. Machines में because बहुत सारा assessment वगैरह बहुत कुछ होता है. So I will require some connectivity for sure here. So what are the options to have connectivity?
So it's VPN or Express Gateway, right? Express
Yes.
route.
So it's first thing is your internet. How are we connected now? How have I taken the RDP? This is the RDP I have taken for one of the machines which is on Azure. How am I taking that? When you create a machine on Azure here, okay. It was very simple question, guys. I understand, but this is how you will get stuck. And I know here you know it is just not clear, but the interviewer will not understand that. Interviewer will not understand that. Okay, you know, and you are just getting confused. What I'm trying to ask here, let me make it simple for you. I have created this machine on my subscription in Azure, and now I want to take remote through this machine. How will I take remote? Step by step. Who can tell me? This is in front of you. How do I take remote of this machine? I have everything, user ID and everything, and all information is there. So how will I take remote?
Hello, Soil.
Hmm.
First, we would require a public IP.
Yes, we have public IP. Next, what next?
We go to Windows R, then run box, then MSTSC.
Okay,
Then we
you
enter.
want this tool, RDP tool, right?
Correct.
Okay, I got that. Next, what?
We go to Windows R, then we just enter MSTSC, and in RDP tool we enter IP, public IP, and then we need to enter the credential to get remote access.
Okay. So I connected this, right? I typed this IP. I guess Amit dropped. Srishti, are you getting it? Or is it confusing for
Yeah.
you also? Okay. Right. So when I hit on connect here, what is happening? How are we connecting? ये मेरा घर का लैपटॉप जो है, How is it connected to this one? How am I able to connect to this IP? That is my question.
Internet.
Internet, right? So when it comes to migration, one method is internet. But I am planning to migrate 1,000 machines, 2,000 machines with sensitive data. Would I want my information to go over the internet?
No.
What is the other option then?
Express route.
We'll use
Right. In simple, it's private network or public network. When we say public network, it is internet. When I say private network, it can be your anything. It can be your VPN, it can be your express route, it can be anything. So where do you decide that? You decide that in your assessment and everything, and you will never see public endpoint. No one would want to transfer their machines in public endpoint. So you'll always select private endpoint. Where are you selecting this? At the time of implementation, when you create Azure Migrate project, you select the project, you give the subscription name, resource group name, project name, geography, and then the connectivity method. Here you decide whether it is going to be public endpoint or private endpoint. Okay. So it's most of the time, 90%, 95% private endpoint. Okay, now it is saying disable public network access. Yes, I do not want any public activity while migrating and everything. So now what is it saying? That provide the configuration details. So now what does it mean कि आपका Azure Cloud और आपका ये जो है किस virtual network पे मिला हुआ है, and where have you configured your express route or where have you configured your VPN? That information you have to give here. Is it clear this page, guys? Anyone has any questions?
No, clear.
Srishti,
Yeah,
are you
it's
getting
clear.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is how you will have to do it. But here in training session, do we have any express route?
No.
Do we have any VPN?
No, we don't.
No. That is the reason we are using public IP here, right? If we had any VPN or express route, we'll be using the private IP. Why would we use public IP? We are using public IP only for this reason because we do not have our VPN or express route set up. But when you go to live environment, you will already have that and you will always select private endpoint. And to answer the question in the interview, there are two main categories or methods for connectivity. Public endpoint, which is clearly means internet. No one will want to migrate their machines on internet, even if it is a development or test server. Okay, it's highly insecure. And there's a private endpoint. Private endpoint means you will be using express route or VPN or anything. But in training, as we discussed, we are going with public. Why? Because we haven't set up our VPN or we haven't set up our uh, express route. So you just click on create. Your migrate project will be created. You will get all this information, that what will be the project name, which resource group are you selecting, or create a resource group, which subscription are you selecting, or create a new subscription. All this will be decided at the assessment level and you will get the document and tickets, everything. But still you should know the what is the logic behind it. I hope this is clear to everyone, right?
Yes.
So the recent one which we have created, it should show here. And see, one more thing, at a time it is not necessary to have only one project. You are not the only team. Okay, you in the same portal you might say 3 or 4 or 5 projects here. That is the reason we are giving names to projects, that you should not change anything on other, though you will not have access, still you should not do this work on anyone else's project. Is it clear? So you will see the project details here. You'll have to make sure that you are selecting your own project here. So let me see if that project is visible here. Here it is, the test migration project. Okay, so this is how it will look. I am teaching only Azure Migrate tool, and you also stick to this, that we have done migration using Azure Migrate tool. That was free, that is recommended by Microsoft, hence we have done that. What are other tools? I will show a list of those tools, and I will show one more tools report how it looks like. Okay, but though that report is very good compared to our Azure tool, we'll see both of them today. Okay, so when it comes to tools, assessment tool and migration tool, very first thing you will do assessment, and this assessment is different from the offline assessment, guys. When I was highlighting this assessment here, I hope you can see the OneNote, right? When I say this, I'm highlighting things. So this pre-migration assessment, this is not a tool-based assessment. This is something your managers, your architects, application owner, finance, FinOp, those teams will do. Okay, your CFO will be there, who will be who needs to know how much it is going to spend, or how much it is required for this project. Okay, your chief technology officer, that kind of crowd you will see here, and that team is called Cloud Center of Excellence team. You can name this team in your interview, gives very good impression. They will do the very basic assessment, that based on our region, which cloud should we go with. Technical assessment will come later. Okay, ये लोग जो है बहुत ही high level का assessment करते हैं, but इसमें भी काफी time लग जाता है. What they decide, cost, services, who is giving them better benefits, AWS or Azure, based on their region, which are services are required, which are available. Example I have given already, that I have an application in UAE. I'm running an application in UAE, and my application requires Mac. To run that application, or to host that application, I need Mac PCs also. Azure in UAE doesn't give service which has Mac. On the other hand, AWS and GCP, they give service which has Mac. I'm just giving examples, okay? Don't quote me on that, guys. Though it is correct that Azure does not have Mac service, and AWS has, but I'm just giving examples. So let's say that AWS and GCP, they do have Mac. So by default, Azure is out of the race. Now I am comparing between GCP and AWS, then cost, services, which benefit, enterprise agreement, all these details. This assessment is a different thing, and this assessment, the tool base which we're talking about, it is a different thing. So don't get confused. Go thoroughly step by step, aram se, so you will remember that. On portal, practically we are discussing this now, which is tool-based assessment. Which tool? Azure assessment tool we are talking about. Which other tools are available? Let's quickly have a look. Here, if you click here, you will see you have Cloudomize, Cloudsphere, Current. This is the tool. I will show you the reports of Current, how it looks. Device 42, Turbonomic. Turbonomic is good tool. Okay, and these are the tools which you have. So using those tools, but you will have to pay for these tools. You as in your client will have to pay. And again, this will be decided by architecture team, that which tool are we using, is it worth to pay. So let's say that you have decided in your interview, you'll say, okay, I have worked on XYZ number of migration, but all of them were done using assessment tool, Azure assessment tool. Okay, so how will we start with this? You click on Discover. Okay, only 1 minute is left, guys. What I'll do in next session, I'll start from here, the practical. Do you have any questions meanwhile before we finish this session? Any questions in your mind? Yes, Amit, Srishti, Hussein.
No.
Okay.
Like I
No,
can't
sir.
think of any.
Fine. So we'll start the session without any breaks using the same link. I'm stopping it now.
Okay.
It's hardly 10 seconds left.